My name is Matthew. I'm the lead pastor here. Again, welcome everybody. If you're new here, we're especially glad that you've come. Thank you for being with us. Hello to everybody on Zoom as well. So glad you can join us. We're in a series at the moment, coming towards the end of a series. This is our penultimate week on a series on our vision as a church. So we've been exploring what it means to be church, what our unique vision as a community is. And I hope you've been enjoying that. Today we're going to actually hear from a bunch of people from our own community about how the vision has impacted their lives, how they see things, and we'll be doing that shortly. Wanted to mention also that next week after the service we have something called The Journey, which is a brief seminar. I guess you'd call it a seminar. We have lunch together, and anybody's welcome. We hold it over in the barn. And basically it's a sort of a more in-depth introduction to Cedar Ridge. We get into a lot of the aspects of things like our vision and values. So this is a really opportune time to do it. You're welcome to come along if you just want to find out more. Also, if you want to become a member here at Cedar Ridge, we encourage everybody to go through the journey. It's sort of a helpful way of finding out more about us, and we get to know you too. So everybody's welcome to that. We just ask that you would sign up for it because lunch is provided, so we need to know numbers. And also we have childcare available as well. So there's a sign-up sheet on the table in the lobby. You could sign up there. You can also sign up online. But I mean, just signing up today if you know you're going to come would be great, and that gives us a chance to plan. Talking about membership here, in a month or so, November the 3rd, first Sunday of November, we will have a community Sunday, and that's when various members get baptized. Families often dedicate their children. We also welcome new members into membership. And one of the other things we do on that day is after the service hold our annual meeting. It's kind of like our family meeting about the business of the church. And one of the things we do there is elect new board members. So we're in that season of being open to nomination. So if there's somebody you would like to nominate to be on our board of trustees, please do let us know. You can come and see me afterwards. Is Jen here? Jen, do you want to just quickly stand up, Jen? Jen is the chair of our board. You can go and chat with Jen. And you'll also be receiving an email tomorrow with some links to how you can go about nominating people too. So just wanted to give a heads up about that. Okay, so back to today and our series about our vision. Before we hear from a few people, just wanted to do a little bit of recap, I guess. We've been exploring what it means to be part of this community, and our vision is kind of a long, dreamlike picture of the future. We've abbreviated it just for the sake of sort of breaking it down a little bit into some of these bullets. If you've been here over the past few weeks, you'd have seen this already, but just as a reminder. We start off with the fact that God is here and we all belong. So however we would describe God, I mean, who knows how to articulate what God is? And, I think we've been, as a human race, we've been struggling with that for centuries, haven't we, for millennia. But we believe God is present. The divine presence is real and here. And Jesus taught us that we can reach out for it. And it's for everybody. We all belong. Everybody is included. So because of that love, because of that presence, we can let go of fear and open our hearts because we realize that we all need to change. And that's the third point there, that we can walk this path of transformation. Every single one of us needs healing and wholeness and to be restored from areas of brokenness in our own lives, to become better people, become people that are more able to be a positive impact in the world as we go out as wounded healers to share this love. So we're all wounded in different ways. And it's not like we get perfect and then we can help somebody else, but actually as wounded people, I think we're more compassionate, more open, more tender-hearted, perhaps more empathetic to others who need help as well. And it's not only an individualistic thing, it's not only a personal thing, it's not only personal transformation, we're talking about transformation of the whole world, including all the systems of the world, as we bring justice and peace to both people and systems and the planet, to the earth. And then we sort of come back round to God is here and we all belong. There's this rhythm of living this out, of acknowledging that God's presence is here. I need to change. I need to be transformed. I need to be an agent of transformation in the world. So that's the kind of rhythm of our vision. Now, just briefly, I wanted to mention a few what we might call potential distractions. So you know how vision is kind of like captures our attention. It implies that we're seeing something or imagining something. It's not, a physical seeing, but something in our mind's eye. But we can be distracted from that. And so I just wanted to share a few of these bullets about that maybe we could all consider these as, are we being distracted this way? Where are we at on each one of these? And I would say that for myself personally, I think I fall into all of these categories to some degree. The first distraction is being comfortable. Now, there's something really beautiful about being comfortable, and actually we talk as a community about being a community of peace and safety, don't we? Wesley was talking about that last week. And we talk about finding a place of hope and healing. And there's something beautiful about that. Many of us have probably been on journeys, spiritual journeys, life journeys, where we've reached a point of discomfort. Maybe we've been excluded for various reasons because of who we are or what we believe. We may have experienced that in other churches. In fact, I think probably one of the common denominators for Cedar Ridge members, if you like, or participants, is that we've had a negative church experience, a negative religious experience in our past. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but many people when they first come here will say things to me like, this is the last resort. I'm just giving it one more chance, which I guess means we're the bottom of the barrel, in some way. And it also feels like, well, that's a bit of pressure. That's often words to that effect that people say. So we've come from a place of discomfort and pain and suffering and struggle at times. And I think when we find a community like this, and this is a good thing, it feels comfortable. We can relax. We can let go of fear, as we were just talking about, and be our true selves. But the distraction in that is that we can actually want to stay there. It's like, yeah, I've kind of paid my dues. I'm now in this more open, affirming, loving, accepting environment, and it's kind of nice. But as we were hearing about last week, again, when Wesley was sharing about the people of Israel and the notion of being blessed to be a blessing, or as Jesus would say, you give and receive, right? Those two things go hand in hand. It's not just all about receiving. It's not just all about giving. But maybe for some of us, participation and entering in more to the life of the church, and also into sharing this, the beautiful thing that we found with others, perhaps that's one of our challenges. Maybe we've been distracted that way. Second one, now this is maybe a bit of a harsh term, self-righteous. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some other words that might describe this a little better. But, if we've been on this journey, and maybe we've kind of been on a theological journey, and we're at a more open place, and we kind of perhaps feel that we've made some progress in letting go of some baggage, theological baggage, religious baggage, personal baggage that kind of holds us back. The distraction here could be that we start thinking that we've arrived, that we've got it, like we're okay. There's all these toxic religions out there, and we can. It's very easy to look better than them, right? So that's good news for us, I guess. But we could become a little complacent, and as I say, feel like we've arrived, that perhaps we're better than other people, and we start losing that sense of needing to be transformed. That we're on this journey still. It's not a question of arriving. It's a question of moving forward, continuing to move forward. Perhaps that's our distraction. Or maybe it's being afraid. Maybe it's fear, where we're in a situation where we're like, I don't even know what's true anymore. I don't know what's up or down, and I really don't want to even have to make decisions about anything, because I just want to be accepted. I just want to be in a safe place where there's openness, because the world's a frightening place. I'm not sure I've got any answers to it, and who am I to think I have in the first place? So I'm just going to hunker down. And that might be a distraction, right? I mean, if you think about it, all of those first three things stop this inherent expansiveness of what it means to following Jesus, this inherent inclusiveness of what it means to follow Jesus. And the question is, in many respects, I think for churches like us, is if we have any of those 3 bullet points dominating on our lives, we're likely just to become institutionalized. We'll become introverted. We'll start, survival mentality, and we'll sort of we'll take actions as a community to benefit our community and to maintain our community. And it would be very easy for us to lose the edge of what it really means to follow Jesus and what is inherent in our vision. So I think for all of us, staying fresh, staying alert, staying raw to the challenge to include others, to, in our discomfort, in our, I don't really know whether I've got it right or not, in our openness, to be willing to still take what is an ancient message of Jesus, right, an ancient tradition of Jesus, and find what the reality is of that message, of the kingdom of God, as Jesus would say, in our reality, in the present day. That's our challenge. It would be easy for us just to hunker down, and eventually we would fade away, right? And that might be a comfortable option. But as followers of Jesus, something stirs us and inspires us and motivates us not to let go of that, but to be the church that Jesus has called us to be the community that Jesus imagines. And that's what our vision is all about. So we're going to hear from a few people now who have been a part of our community for quite a long time, and Wesley is going to come and have a discussion with them. So Steve and Shoba, if you'd like to come up, let's give them a round of applause as they come up.
All right. Well, as Matthew said, I'm Wesley. I'm one of the pastors here at Cedar Ridge, and so good to be interviewing Steve and Shoba, who are longtime Cedar Ridgers. And I've only been here just over a year, so I feel like the new person on the stage. So I'm glad to be able to hear your story and your journey with Cedar Ridge. So as I said, this is Steve and Shoba, but could you go ahead and tell us, how long have you been a part of Cedar Ridge? Whoever feels comfortable can jump in first.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Is that on? Yeah. I'm really grateful to have a chance to be up front and share a little bit about not just me, but about the vision and the impact on me and my story a little bit there. I've been here about 30 years, okay? That's longer than I've been married to my wife, who Tina Mather and I, we have both been part of Cedar Ridge a long time. But to be fair, I met her before I met Cedar Ridge. Okay, so I've been here a long time, 30 years. Some of that time as just a member, a community member that was really excited to volunteer for children's ministry, etc. I spent some time on staff here, many years on the board here, so I'm just grateful that I've had a good number of positive growth years here in this community.
Awesome. And how about you, Shoba?
Hello, I'm Shoba Duncan. And if you've ever read on our website or heard about the history of this church, it started in a living room here in Maryland and with a small group of people. And I was one of those people that was there when we started in 1982. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, and so I've always been, since I came here, I think maybe my first or second Sunday I met Shoba, and I just felt so honored that this community exists because you all were willing to build community in your living room and in a living room and just be with one another with this vision, not really knowing. I mean, there's no way you could have seen 63 acres and this building and all this property and all these people and all that Cedar Ridge would become, but just being faithful to the kind of community that you felt like God was calling you to be. And that's really what we're called to do. Each one of us today is just to be faithful to following God, however God is leading us, to be community in community and with one another. Man, 30 years is a long time. 42 years is a long time ago. So if you can remember, like, what initially, I guess for Steve, what initially drew you to Cedar Ridge, and for Shoba, like, what initially made you think we could start a community together? And because I was thinking about this, because churches, as you know, are voluntary organizations, like nobody assigns you to a church or makes you become a part of a church or stay a part of a church, like what part of the vision of Cedar Ridge makes you or helps you stay a part of Cedar Ridge, right? Because you all have stayed a part of this community, so yeah.
Yeah, to give just a little bit of backstory, I come from a background of Catholic and then evangelical Christian, right? So if you went back to my family where I'm from, Chicago, we were Catholic, faithful people. But when I got to high school or so, that was maybe not for me, and my parents were going to not force that to be me. I went more evangelical. And through that network, that kind of community, I found Cedar Ridge. I'm so grateful. And it was not meeting in this building, just like Wesley said. We were meeting at Paint Branch High School just up the road, although it was the old Paint Branch High School back in the 90s, okay? I have to keep bragging on the age that I'm at right now. Thank you. So how did Cedar Ridge reach out to not just me, but all of my peers, all of the people that I wanted to stay with? We all went to Cedar Ridge for years. And the leadership at the time, the visions and the things that drove our community, like Shoba, all the founders of Cedar Ridge did, they just appealed to all of us. But here's the reason why I've stayed. I am so grateful that we are a community that's not, and this is me, just Christian, okay? I just talked about Catholic and evangelical. Those were things where over time, that word, that category, I embrace some of Christianity, but not all of it. I'm grateful that today we could be here sharing our perspective about our vision that is open, it's multi-denominational rather than non, or specifically just one. And I can continue to grow in my journey. I could be with people I trust and have known for 30 years, That's something that just so amazing to me, and I can't pretend I know it doesn't exist anywhere else. I've been here for that 30 years, but I feel like I need that.
Yeah, thanks. How about you, Shoba?
Well, I've been here a long time, and as you said, a lot of things have changed. In the beginning, we were we met in a home, and then we outgrew that, and then we met in schools, and so there's been a lot of change over the years, but one thing that has remained is that this community is like family to me. And I don't know where I'd be without all of you. So I'm very grateful for that. And Steve and Tinica, I guess, I don't know if you were going to say this, but my husband and I taught Sunday school with Steve and Tinica. And they were young at that time. Not
Babies.
that they're old now, but they were very young. And so, but we had so much fun together, and we learned to love each other and to be community together through serving together. Because we did that, it's like we're forever bonded because of that. So.
Yeah, there's something really special about putting down roots in a community, having a commitment to that community, even when there's different factors that kind of test that commitment to a community. Sometimes we want to uproot ourselves and move on, or maybe somebody or something makes us feel uncomfortable. But it's something special about, and something I would even say spiritual about, like journeying with a community of people that are seeking to be more loving to the people around them. And something about that simple vision is really, really, really special. Matthew did talk about a potential distraction being comfort, and I think Cedar Ridge is a community that tends to, because we're really wrestling with what it means to follow Jesus in our world, tends to maybe make us uncomfortable in some ways. And so what part of our vision, I guess, would have you found most stretching or making you most uncomfortable, and maybe even how have you navigated that as you've seen the vision evolve here?
Yeah, the vision that we have right now on the website or on paper, as wordy as it is, right? 5 or 6 paragraphs. Somehow it captures enough of, for me, the challenges, the aspirations, and then the day-to-day practicalities. So what stretches me? I could have a long chat with anybody right here on stage or after the service is over, I'd love to talk about what do you think about this part of the vision and all that. But what challenges me and helps me grow and stretch, because I agree with that, is if we want to see the world change, we will have to be the change we want to see in the world. We've used that word here, or that phrase here at Cedar Ridge before. So I can't just go do my paid job or volunteer at Cedar Ridge or elsewhere and say I'm making a change in the world, because my interpretation of our vision is, what about me, right? Maybe my personality is more like I want to serve, I want to help people, but I haven't even thought about what I'm going through, what I'm struggling with. In fact, I just touched my t-shirt. If I could, this shirt was made a long time ago, right after the vision was finalized, and many people point out the word up here that is adversity. Okay, so I don't mean that the vision challenges me because of adversity. I experience it, but my view of the vision and my place in this community drives me back to take a look at myself. Where am I? Am I just loving others, or did I forget to care about myself? And I've gone through adversity in different ways in different times of my life. Again, I say the vision helps me remember. What about your growth? Have you talked to yourself? Have you reflected on all those things? That's where I feel stretched by our vision.
How about you?
Well, I got to say, I love the vision of Cedar Ridge Community Church. And I remember when we were sort of hashing out the wording and talking about it, and it embodies who we are as people. And it's something to aspire to, it's something that we are, and I just love it. If you remember, there was a video made of different members here speaking the words of the vision. If you haven't seen it, I would really recommend seeing it. It's beautiful, and maybe we could do it again now that we've changed the wording a little bit, that we could do that again, because I could watch that over and over again. It's so beautiful. And as Steve was saying, that things have evolved in our belief systems, in our thoughts about God, but yet there are certain things that have always remained, and that is that we are an open and accepting community, and that means so much to me. I feel like I could invite any of my friends to come here, and they would feel comfortable because of the acceptance of everyone, and that is very important to me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I think that's one of the things. So as I mentioned, I've been here a year, and one of the things I had on my list of what I was looking for in a church had to do with being an open, inclusive, accepting community, where I knew that no matter who I know personally, I knew that I could invite them and they would feel embraced and loved and accepted here. And I've told this story multiple times, but I had a friend that I told him like what I was looking for in a church, and because a lot of churches say everybody's welcome and they don't actually mean it, the way he put it to me when I told him what I was looking for in a church, he said, well, you're kind of looking for a needle in a haystack. And when I found out about Cedar Ridge and visited a couple of times, and I ended up calling him back and I said, I think I found the needle. I think it does, because he thought it didn't exist. I think it does exist. There is a community that's truly accepting of everyone, and so I'm glad to be a part of this community that has that value. Another one is that I was thinking about is, so we use the word journey a lot here, right? We're on a journey together, and as we journey together as a community, I mean, the reality is our broader community, the community around us, has changed. The world we live in has changed and is rapidly changing. It feels like right now, and in some good ways and some not so good ways. But as a result of that, our vision changes, right? So we begin thinking about what it looks like to follow Jesus. Like some of the things we have to think about as a community as they pertain to following Jesus. People 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago when the church was first being birthed, they weren't thinking about those kinds of things. And so our vision ought to change as our community and our culture around us changes. Is there anything that comes to your mind of like how the Cedar Ridge vision has changed over the last 42 years or last 30 years?
Over the last 30 years, sure, the vision has grown and evolved in a direction, but what's ironically true for me, as much as I see myself changing a lot, especially if I look back 5 years ago, I love looking at my old photos on my phone and all that kind of nostalgic stuff, seeing my 2 kids grown up as adults and all that. I see how things change, but this community has changed in the way that feels the most healthy. Like, for me, I love getting something new. I'd like to update the color of the living room paint, just why don't I change it? I did it 2 years ago, let's paint it a different color. But here's the thing, 20 years ago, all right, so I was already 10 years into my time here, Matthew got here about 20 years ago, and that's where I felt our community had the opportunity to really look at the vision closely, define it, put it into words, agree upon it, and then live as a community with that vision. To me, since then, those last 20 years, while things change, even the language on some of the paragraphs were updated, we are on a course that has not, right? We are centered around our hope to live the way of Jesus. We are not about what's trending, what new color can we put on the wall here? We've got a lot to do, and like you said, the world changes, and if we don't, there's some problems there. Again, going back to some very traditional faith communities, which I don't hate, but I could see that we want to grow as a community, as individuals. I think our vision is written and lived out in a way that happens realistically, authentically, and not in an unhealthy, trendy way.
Very good, Steve. I like what you said. Thank you. And we've already said this, but the core of us, years ago we had something called Our Values. And our values, if I could find the document, I'm sure we have it in our house somewhere, that there was a list of things that we thought were really important for a church community to have. And they're so similar to now what we call our vision. And so there's a continuity of our community that has been here for many years. And I am grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the ability to be in a place where I can ask questions and I can challenge what I've been thinking all these years. And I want to ask, I wonder if I really believe that anymore. I wonder if am I the only one that questions these things? But I'm not. I've noticed here that all of us have questions, and all of us have to decide for ourselves what we believe and what we can put aside. And this is a place, and has always been a place, where we can do that. And that means very much to me, that everybody can come wherever they are in their faith journey and be a part of this community and be accepted here, and their questions are honored. They're not like, oh, how could you think that? They can be here and be a part of this community, even if they don't believe exactly anything, but they want to be closer to God, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, what I found about some communities is they have a tendency to kind of build fences, right? With beliefs or certain ways of being, who belongs, who doesn't belong, those kinds of things. But Cedar Ridge is genuinely interested in helping to shape people or form people as followers of Jesus. And so instead of fences, we're just trying to follow Jesus, which as we do that, we're not just following Jesus in this room, but we follow Jesus out these doors, down that driveway, down the street, to our homes, to our communities. And it's there that we live, or we seek to live, albeit imperfectly, right? Because we're human beings, and God we're still works in progress. But we're trying in our communities to live in such a way that we make the world a better place. And as a community, we do the same thing. Like, we're trying to live in such a way that makes the world a better place. So really, as a last question, is how have you seen the Cedar Ridge community, whether that's us as this whole church making the world a better place, or maybe a small group making the world a better place, or just by you implementing, or someone that's part of our community implementing the way of Jesus, living, embodying the way of Jesus, maybe is a better term. How is that, have you seen that contribute to making the world a better place?
Well, one of the things that we do as a community, we have a partnership with a community in Ipala, Guatemala. And I had the privilege of going there 2 times and meeting the people and being a part of that community. And people say, oh, you went on a mission trip. And I'm like, well, no, I wouldn't really call it that. I would say we went on a partnership trip because we as a community felt that we're not going there to tell this community anything. They're a beautiful community and they have their own spirituality, and it's not our job to change that or to add to it or do anything like that, but to partner with them, and they know what their community needs better than we do. So we have just had a beautiful relationship with that community there, and it's ongoing, and many of you have gone, many of you have contributed, and so that's something that I think Cedar Ridge has done really well.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and 2 quick thoughts on my side. Because of the farm work we do here, Tinica works closely with Ruth to get the food, the harvested food, out to the people who could really benefit from it. So I've a few times delivered over to Kingdom Fellowship, which is not far from here, but just to see some of that, whoa, I know what happens on the farm here, but now I see what happens to the families who are hopeful and needing something like that to be available to them. So that is one quick one. The other one is something like Harvest Festival coming up in a little bit. We, over the years, have invited friends just to come to the event. They're not people looking for a church. They're not interested in faith communities, but that's a time where me and Tinica will bring people, if they want, to that event, and they're just embraced. They're welcomed. Like you said, we don't put the fences up. We're like a place where we can be together, celebrate together, and that kind of thing in the past few years has led to conversations back in our neighborhood with the friends who said, I'll check out that kind of party. And then a month later, they want to know, what kind of place is that? And so day-to-day life is impacted by so many things. I think does trickle in a very organic way, not in a my mission is to draw as many of my friends into this building as possible on a Sunday. That's not really where I'm going. It's just I want to connect and see where they are, and they can hear where I'm coming from too. It really has that impact.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, I think it is incredible to be a part of a community that is making such a difference in our broader community, and to know that we don't just exist as an end in ourselves, right? What happens in this room isn't the end. We're kind of journeying, partnering with one another, really making the world a better place. So thank you, Shoba. Thank you, Steve, for sharing your experience with Cedar Ridge. And this isn't just a conversation for us to observe your journey. It's really an invitation for us all to continue on the journey or to join the journey of making the world a better place through the vision of following Jesus and becoming a community of hope and transformation. The band can come on back up. We're going to sing one more song, and then I think Ruth will be out here. She'll share a little bit about the farm, and then she'll have a conversation with some of our youth. Thank you, Shoba and Steve.
Thank you.
Am I on now? Am I on? Now I'm on. Green. It's taking its time. Yep. All right. So I'm still Ruth. I'm still a pastor here. And still one of my jobs is to run our community farm. And this year we have harvested 3,882 pounds of produce. So that, for those of you who aren't great with weights and measures, that's almost 2 tons, or to put it in things that you might more appreciate, it's about the weight of a mid-size SUV or 2 Clydesdale horses. So that's how we report out what we brought in. Our number 1 crop this year was cucumbers, surprisingly. I think that's the first time it's come out number 1. Almost, so 865 pounds worth of cucumbers. That is a lot of cucumbers. I'm not sure what everybody made with their cucumbers, but that's lots of salad right there. Because it was hot early in the season, we got an extra large harvest of crops that really like the heat, such as eggplants, so nearly 400 pounds worth of eggplants, and okra, over 300 pounds of okra. Now, okra is small and light. That is a lot of okra. It's a lot of okra, a lot of packing. So we did have a few problems this year, particularly with rabbits. Now, in the top corner, you can see one of those very darling little rabbits, but they are super cute. I spent a lot of time just watching them going, oh, they're so cute. But they're also extremely damaging. You can't really see it super clearly, but that second picture, we repaired the fence over and over and over again, and they would just come and make these nice little doorway shapes, and in they would go. They had lots of nests and had lots of babies. So there's 6 little baby bunnies there that we carefully moved out, and they did take it. She took them elsewhere. But yes, so lots and lots of damage from our adorable rabbits. They weren't the only pests this year. As always, we had lots of voles. Again, super cute, super damaging. Bambi's always here, making big holes in the fence and jumping through. Lots of groundhogs too. So we had lots and lots of damage, lots of poop on there from them. And the voles, as cute as they are, they actually wiped out most of our sweet potato crop. We only got 50 pounds of sweet potatoes. Usually we get about 300 or 400 pounds. So they were extremely damaging. And as you can see, that fence has got ripped and patched and ripped and patched and ripped and patched. We actually applied for and got a grant to put up metal fencing on top of our plastic fencing. So we'll do that in a couple of weeks. If you'd like to help with that, we would love to have your help. So that's a grant from the Montgomery County Countryside Alliance. So if you would like, that was a serious request, if you would like to help us, we'd really appreciate that. Matthew's heading up that project, so go and tell him that you'd like to help. But despite that damage, as I said, this is our second highest harvest ever. And so we really do have, it's great. Out of our 16 years, it's the second harvest. So we have a lot to celebrate, which we will do at our Harvest Festival, which is on Saturday. It's amazing. It's coming up, yep. And we'll have all the usual pumpkins, painting and carving, inflatables, wagon rides, s'mores making, popcorn, all of that stuff, cider, tons of fun, tons of people coming out. Hundreds of people will be here, and it does take volunteers. So please, if you haven't signed up yet, do sign up. You can speak to Kim. Tina, of course, she's here. Oh, I know she's not here. Speak to Kim or speak to me. We'd love to get you connected and helping out. And please be here. Please be here, even if you're not volunteering. Bring people and help welcome people to our property. There are few churches who get this opportunity to really celebrate something meaningful for hundreds and hundreds of people who would never come to church, but will come to this. This is a great way for us to show God's love in action. We're talking about our vision, and this is really living out our vision. I was actually talking to someone earlier this week about if Jesus came to our church, what would be the things that Jesus would love? Now, I recognize I'm a little bit biased, but I think Jesus would absolutely love our farm. The fact that we're using a church property to grow food for people who are hungry. You don't get more grounded in terms of service than that. I think Jesus would love it, and I think Jesus would absolutely love the Harvest Festival. So we're super welcoming and inclusive. Everybody comes, everybody's welcome. It's joyful, people are grateful. It really is our vision in action. So please do come out to that. It's a special time and you won't want to miss it. All right, so now, plug done, we are going to look at a different part of our vision. Obviously, our vision resonates all differently with each of us. And we have 3 of our younger members who very bravely have agreed to come up. So assuming you're still out there, Alex, Edith, and Jacob? Yes. You always worry that they've just no, and left. So let's give them a round of applause. This is scary, so. Have a seat wherever you want. Thank you so much, guys, for coming up here. I know it's kind of intimidating, so really appreciate you taking some time to speak to us about our vision. So, well, let's just open it up. What is it about a vision that appeals to you, or that you think is cool? Whoever wants to go first. Sure. Oh, introduce yourself.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Alex, so sorry.
And I'm Edith.
Awesome. So, Jacob, kick us off. What is it about our vision that appeals to you?
Like what part?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
Sure. So I think the part about imagining a community of people devoted to following Jesus together and like learning to live like him and helping one another grow in their relationship with God, that part really touches me because I think that's what Cedar Ridge really is and what we do here. Like that's how, I think that's like why we're such a welcoming community. And I think this part of the vision is really about like learning and growing with each other and how, our journey here, which is something we say a lot, is never really finished and we're always learning and growing.
That's cool.
There was a part of the vision statement that stood out to me saying that everybody's journey is cherished. And I think that's great because everybody here, I would guess, is at different levels in their faith journey. I don't think anybody's at the same level of confidence or level of understanding as another person. And that's completely accepted. Like, questions are allowed to be asked and nobody's being judged for them. And everybody's helped through the community.
What do you think, Edith?
I think the part of the vision statement that's most important to me is the part about slowing down, because every day is like a rush, and then we can, when we get to church, we can finally slow down and think.
That's really good, yeah. Why do you guys come to church? Is it parents drag you? Probably a little bit, but what is it that you like about this community in general? Maybe not just the vision, but what is it that you like about our community?
So I'd say when you come to like Cedar Ridge and you step in the building, everyone really welcomes you, and I think a little more importantly, everybody really genuinely cares about things that are happening in your life, events, changes, anything. And I think that's always so valuable to me because it gives me a bit of a constant or a base here at Cedar Ridge.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's such an easy space to be in, like even in this room listening to a sermon, but also especially in the barn, because I've never felt like a real outlier in the barn. I've always been completely absorbed into that community, and I feel like now we've just gotten like 6 new 6th graders in or more. And I feel like on that first day when they were here, they were all immediately welcomed. And I felt that 2 years ago when I first came into the barn. It was and is a great experience because it's a loving community. Even if it isn't said all the time, we love and care about each other, and we value the way one another thinks, and we have all these discussions, not just about faith and religion and the Bible, but about each other's lives. And I think that's a great place to have every Sunday.
One thing about the church is that everyone's own ideas are welcomed. When we were learning about, I think, the parables in Cedar Ridge Kids, instead of just like hearing what the most common interpretation was, we were like invited to interpret it for ourselves, and that's what I think is valuable about Cedar Ridge.
I think that's amazing because we did that in the barn too, and hearing that the younger kids got to do that as well and have that kind of discussion is just amazing to hear, that they're not being told what to think and any more or less than what we are up in the barn or what you are here.
And speaking of like the barn and the youth group, so one of like our community members, Trish, the leader of youth group, she's always like, I think this also represents the entire Cedar Ridge community. She always like talks to me and asks about how my life is, how things are going, and specifically, what's happening in my life. And that's just so valuable to me because it really lets me know that someone cares.
Great. That's really awesome. So Alex and Jacob, you both mentioned how important it was for you to have a safe space where you felt welcome and not judged. And that's obviously something that we really strive for. What do we do that's good about that? But also, are there ways that we could strengthen that and be more, so that everybody feels accepted and feels that they belong?
I think one way that we make this community a safe place is like how we discuss Jesus, God, and like the Bible, and our faith in general, because I think Cedar Ridge doesn't, I think Alice brought this up, but we don't tell people what to believe or how our faith should be, but we're more of a guide, which I think really lets anybody who, whatever stage or whatever journey they're taking, it lets them be part of the Cedar Ridge Church community.
I think definitely an aspect that helps you feel like you belong is pretty much every aspect of you is taken in stride. Like, it's never stopped and examined. You as a whole are just you in a group, and that's great. And about improving, I've never really felt uncomfortable, so I've never stopped and thought about what could be improved, and I still really can't. Because until there's something that would bother me, then there's nothing that would really need to be changed for me.
Y'all take note of that. They don't have problems telling us what we could do. I'm totally kidding. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, actually now thinking about, how we're up here, how we're able to share our opinions, that could be something we could improve, because I think like the youth group and the Sunday school being included in the main service, or other parts of the church more incorporated, I think that would be very valuable. I think that would help everybody, like in age, feel more included.
One thing about the church is that even like we've always been able to like worship, like during the pandemic, even though we couldn't actually come here, every week we would go to the Labyrinth.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. And I would say, and I'm sure Trish and her team would also say, that I learned so much from our kids and from our young people. So I completely second what you said.